Okay, so today we're dealing with the top 5 ways that your mind is creating reality. Now, firstly, I know I'm pointing to my head and I'm saying your mind, but your mind and your brain are not the same thing, and do not get them confused. Neuroscientists often do this, and most people often do this as a result because it's popularized to talk about the brain and the mind in the same way, but the mind has actually never been seen. It's immaterial, it's intangible, okay, and it's never been found. We can't tell you where it is, all right? And the brain is an organ. You can see the brain, you can watch the brain, and you have things like neuroplasticity, if anyone wants to go and look it up, that people say, oh, your brain's changing, and yeah, but the brain is an effect of the mind. As every culture and civilization, I'm going to show you in a minute, has told us that your mind creates reality. Okay, so if every civilization, science, even modern science today is telling us that your mind creates reality, do not confuse it with your brain. They are two separate things. Cool. So we deal with number one. The first way that your mind is creating reality is visualization. This is using your imagination to get visuals within the mind. All right. And in science, it shows us that even just for me to lift my arm, I have to imagine it first. We work and do it so quick, the mind works so quick, that we don't realize every single action we take, we actually need to imagine first, okay? So everything begins with imagined acts. So visualization, we're going to do that number one. Let's use my thumb actually. We're going to do that. Number one, this is how you're creating your reality with your mind, okay? Number two is your attention, all right? Now, I've told you before that attention is a compounded word, meaning there's two words in there. It's tension, and tension represents energy, and your creative energy goes into things and creates, right? If you pay attention to something, you will see more of it. Yeah? If you get a new car, you start to notice that car everywhere. Now, everyone will say to you, oh, that's because now that you've seen it, you'll notice it more. That's actually not the case. The case is this. The fact that you gave attention to this object created more of it in your reality, all right? And you will see more of it and witness more of it as a result. This is the power you have within you. You're stronger than you could even imagine. You have more potential than you ever know. Number three, your thoughts. I've also told you this before. Your thoughts are not originating within you. They are actually external to us in the environment, in the atmosphere around. And the thoughts that we get the most are based on the frequency that we currently have. Our electromagnetic biofield is always attracting frequency, okay? Things on a similar frequency that we're emitting. Right? Okay, so your thoughts are also creating reality. You know this because you think about people or you think about something and it shows up. So you have evidence in your own life of this. All right. Now, where did I get to? Number 4. Your belief and your expectation are creating reality. Okay, now believing, it's the same thing. Okay, what you're being and living is what you're attracting. It's what you're expecting. Okay, and based on your mind creating reality, which I'm going to get into the science in a minute of your mind creating reality, what you believe and expect in your mind will create that to happen in the real world, because your mind creates reality. All right. Now, the next thing is your mood, because as I mentioned, what you are feeling determines the vibration and frequency of your electromagnetic field. All right? And that vibration and frequency is going to attract like events, experiences, and people into your world. Just as your frequency will attract similar thoughts, your frequency will attract similar events, experiences, and people into your life. Now, Am I just talking airy fairy? No, because I've got the one book here, which is out on November 7th. You can go and purchase it now. I'll put the link in the video. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give you some very, very experienced, profound, renowned scientists telling you that your mind creates reality. All right, bear with me 1 second. So, Sir James Howard Jeans, he is a member of the Fellowship of the Royal Society. Okay, this is a very renowned scientist. He's a physicist, astronomer, and mathematician. And obviously, to be in the Fellowship of the Royal Society, he's a highly respected scientist. So we have to listen to what he says. Mind no longer appears to be an accidental intruder in the realm of matter. We ought to rather hail it as the creator and governor of the realm of matter. All right, so this is Sir, right? James Howard Jeans is telling us that when we're talking about the mind, we ought to hail it as the creator and governor of the realm of matter. So when I tell you your mind's creating reality and we need mind coaching to change things in our world, you might think it's airy fairy. You might think, oh, he's into this positive thinking, law of attraction. No, the reason I do mind coaching is because it's creating the world. Right, Dr. Bruce Lipton, scientist, biologist, author, a speaker at the United Nations, has to say this: our lives are essentially a printout of our subconscious mind. Okay? Our lives are essentially a printout of our subconscious mind. He couldn't say it any clearer, that your mind is creating reality. Now we're going to go to Richard Connikie. Now, this is all in the one book. The one book is full of evidence of science, religion. It's one. Everything's one. Okay, everything in this world is one. So I've put it all together. But right now we're dealing with the science, because I want you guys to know that mind coaching is not airy fairy. The reason I have 100% success with all of my clients is because your mind is creating your reality. All right. So we start with the cause and not the effect. The cause is your mind, and that's how we change the effect. Right. So let's get into it. Richard Connikie is a professor of physics and astronomy at Johns Hopkins University. And he has this to say: a fundamental conclusion of new physics acknowledges that the observer creates reality. Physicists are being forced to admit that the universe is a mental construction. Yeah, this is what Richard Connikie has to say. He's a professor of physics and astronomy. Don Hoffman, cognitive psychologist, a Department of Cognitive Sciences with a joint appointment in philosophy and computer science. This is what he has to say. Cognitive neuroscientists will say that what's happening in reality is that within every 100th of a millisecond, you are creating the 3D world around you. Not it's being created, you are creating the 3D world around you. You are doing this, he goes on to say, you are doing this so quickly and apparently so effortlessly that you think you're witnessing the world as it is. This is from the one book, people. I'm looking at it on the laptop right now. I'm reading it. It's out on the 7th of November. And this is only the foreword. The book hasn't even started yet. I'm just showing you, first of all, that your mind creates reality. Now we've looked at the science, we're going to go into some of the other arenas. So we'll look at Plato, an Athenian philosopher from the ancient Greek, from the classical period. And let's see what they thought. Reality is created in the mind. We can change our reality by changing our mind. We've all heard of Plato before. This is what Plato had to say about reality. What did Buddha have to say? Let's have a look. All experiences are preceded by mind, having mind as their master, created by mind. That's what Buddha had to say. What did Jesus have to say about it? And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is what Jesus had to say about changing reality. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Now, if we look to Egyptology, the ancient Kemet, and Hermeticism or Hermes, Thoth and Hermes are kind of the same thing. So Greek and Kemet or ancient Egypt, let's have a look what they have to say. All is mind. Everything we see and experience in the physical world has its origins in the mental realm. Okay, people? This is everywhere in the world, and the reason the one book is so revolutionary is because it's a merging of every philosophy in the world. And so when it reaches a conclusion, it's coming from a place that the world is all one and the information is all one. Let's have a look at what the Freemasons, Rosicrucian and lecturer and author Manley P. Hall had to say, my namesake. Right, he says, physical existence is the consequence of mind in action. All right, so this is Manley P. Hall, famous Freemason Rosicrucian lecturer. I think he wrote over a ridiculous amount. It was well over 150 or 140 volumes he actually published. All right. Now we're going back to science again. We're going to look at John Archibald Wheeler, theoretical physicist. We are not only observers, we are participators. In some strange sense, this is a participatory universe. What we are accustomed to calling physical reality turns out to be largely a papier-mâché construction of our imagination. All right? A papier-mâché construction of our imagination. He's saying reality is nothing, it's just construction of our imagination. So the imagination, which is obviously an attribute of the mind, is creating everything. So it's quite easy to see when you look at religion, when you look at science, when you look at philosophy, when you look at the great poets of the world, when you look at the authors, the journalists, everybody will tell you somewhere that their mind is creating reality. You hear all these positive motivational speakers now, whether they're successful actors or their job is motivational speaking, telling you actually my mind decided whether I could do this. I decided it in my mind, and once that was done, and you know, that was it, even when no one else believed. Okay, and the reason being is, I mean, was it ancient Chinese philosopher Confucius actually said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. So it's all about your mind. So with mind coaching, people have said to me before, why do you do mind coaching? Why don't you call it life coaching? Why don't you do your mind creates reality? So I don't want to talk about the effects. I don't want to talk about what's happening in your life. I want to go to the cause. There's something in your mind that is creating the situations you're in right now. And until we deal with the cause, it's going to continue. All right. In the old religions, like with Christianity, they used to say works of the flesh. Works of the flesh was not going to the creator. It was not going to the source of the problem and running out and trying to change things in the physical way. Yeah, so you're trying to get success, for an example. People say, oh, work hard and you'll get success. No, I know lots of people who work hard who are not successful because the problem didn't start with you not having 5 jobs to make yourself rich. The problem started with something in your mind, all right, which is the cause, and you keep trying to change the effect. Start with the cause. That's what mind coaching is about. People, I say this genuinely, you need to go and get this book. You need to find out what's going on. Otherwise, the problems are going to continue. But the beautiful thing about it is the freedom you get from actually understanding. Yeah. And remember, this book, this excerpt that I've read for you from the book is only in the foreword. So the book hasn't even started yet. It's over 80,000 words. It's twice the size of the average self-help book. The reason I've designed it in this way is because I need you to go through a journey of understanding. I need you to go through a development. It starts off with your mind creating reality, and from there, it's amazing. Anyway, peace.